Saying the N-word to a child in a moment of anger is bad. Is it so bad that it warrants the total and permanent destruction of a person's life? And we all know how this script ends. The offender, in a desperate attempt to call off the dogs, tearfully apologizes and begs for mercy, a mercy that they surely will not receive. But that is where the M. Night Shyamalan twist ending comes into play. Because Shiloh Hendrix did not apologize. Instead, she posted a crowdfunding campaign on Give, Send, Go, where she doubled down and defended her actions and asked for help to relocate and get her family to safety. It is, in the end, a net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad she has. I hope she raises $1 million.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. A white lady goes to the park with her child. While she's at the park with her child, another kid, supposedly a 5-year-old kid, comes over, reaches his hand into her diaper bag, takes one of her kid's toys. She sees this, goes over to the kid, takes the toy back, and then calls the 5-year-old kid a racial slur. Another adult at the park sees this encounter, pulls his phone out, records her, and goes, "Hey, you just called this little kid a racial slur. You called him the N-word. You should apologize." She doubles down and says yes, and it's validated because this kid took my little boy's toy. He was behaving like one, so I called him one.
The child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him a... Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you, Nick.
Okay. Alright, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a...
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna...
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
Said encounter goes viral. Apparently or allegedly, the lady's address was doxed. She's in fear for her life, so she goes over to Give, Send, Go, which is another version of GoFundMe, and where she doubles down and says, and I quote, "I called the kid out for what he was. Not only that, whenever you donate on the site, you are able to attach with your donation a comment to go along with it. These are some of the comments. Send them back to Africa. Here's your crown, queen. Elf N-words. Fed up and white. Black is whack. Call them what they are. N-words be crashing out. White lives matter. Tired of this N-word BS," and the list goes on. Most people can look at this situation and go, the lady was 100% in the wrong. There's no justifying it. That is a sad excuse for an adult, let alone a human being, to talk to a child that way. I'm sure most people can look at this situation and come away with that conclusion, except for Matt Walsh, who, by the way, is the same person, as a reminder, when it comes to the Carmelo Anthony situation. We're not talking about how you feel about if Carmelo Anthony is guilty of murder or not. That's not the purpose of what I'm talking about. He specifically had a problem with the fact that so many people had the opinion that Carmelo Anthony was actually not guilty of murder, and thought that he should have at least enough funds and resources so that his family can relocate and they could actually fight in the form of trial because he has the right to due process. Their money did not free him of the charges. It simply gave him the means to be able to fight the charges that he is facing. What Matt Walsh's take to that was that he is getting so many donations because so many black people are rewarding him for unaliving a white person. What's his evidence as to that being the reason Carmelo Anthony received so many donations? Many of the comments attached to his donations. Well, here we have the same thing with Shiloh Hendrix. We see a lot of the comments. We see that she doubled down. What was Matt Walsh's take? The same person who claims to not be racist, claims to only be conservative and believe in God, says that this is a turning point in America and that he not only agrees and supports the fact that she has received so many donations, but he hopes that she gets to 1 million.
I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donors, and I'll explain why. First of all, she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed. I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad one. And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it. The point is that the only way to put an end to this routine, the routine where the outrage mob mobilizes and assembles to destroy somebody's life, is to disincentivize the routine. And the only way to disincentivize that behavior is to reward the person who's being targeted. They must know that their attempt to isolate and ostracize somebody will fail, that for every person condemning the targeted person, two more will rally to their defense.
All right, guys, just real quick before we get into the video, here are 3 quick reasons why you should not hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Number 1, if you hit the like button, you will be communicating to YouTube that you not only found this video enjoyable, but that they should also promote this video to more like-minded people such as yourself. Number 2, if you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, you are likely to find hundreds of other videos just as enjoyable, if not even more enjoyable than this one. And lastly, if you hit that notification bell, you will be preventing YouTube from hiding my videos from you and notifying you every single time we make another post. Now, if you noticed, I want to make sure I get this right. He said that the mob is trying to get her unalived. Now, first and foremost, what's his proof of that? Because everything is alleged until it's something that supports their claim. What is his proof that the mob, who is the mob? I'll tell you who the mob is. What he means is TikTok comments. He means Instagram and YouTube comments. You say, well, that's something you should still take serious. Sure, but how serious should you take it, right? If you live in California and you have somebody on the end of Florida somewhere in a small town with very little money making little mean comments in the comment section, a keyboard warrior, you think that she should raise $1 million because of their comments? So he's lying. His proof that he doesn't have any proof. He's literally making it up. He also says, or shared what his thoughts on free speech means. That's not what free speech means. Free speech means, or believing or supporting free speech simply means that you believe that a person should be able to say something without there being legal consequences. Legal consequences. Supporting free speech doesn't mean that you support a person being able to say something and you're also willing to put your life on the line for that said person because somebody else wants to hurt them for what they said. That's not what it means. Because as we all know, we have the freedom of speech to say whatever we want, but that doesn't mean we have the freedom for consequences from another random person who chooses to do whatever based on what we said. We can't control what another regular human does. Speaking of free speech, I support free speech, but Matt Walsh is once again being misleading. Why? Because he knows white people, just like every other person in this country, has the right to say the N-word. There is no laws, there are no policies that prohibits, there's no bills that are being introduced or passed that's prohibiting so-called white folks from saying the N-word. So when he say that he's fighting for free speech, he's lying. Also, further proof that Matt Walsh is not about free speech is because Matt Walsh is one of the people that has led his own versions of cancel cultures in the past, such as Bud Light. If you remember, Dylan Mulvaney, whatever that guy name is, who claims to be a woman, which, by the way, he's not a woman. When he was being sponsored by Bud Light, Matt Walsh said that the Bud Light boycott was the one time in modern history when conservatives staged an effective boycott against a major corporate brand. And what's his reason for this? Simply because they're supporting something that he does not believe in, that being transgenderism. I also don't believe in transgenderism. But the fact that he's not consistent, because he thought it was so important to boycott Bud Light, an alcohol beverage. An alcohol beverage brand is so important to you that you thought it was important to boycott them because they were supporting the woke left. Even more so that you doubled down at a later time and celebrated the quote-unquote successful boycott. Matt Walsh does not actually believe in quote-unquote free speech the way that he says that he does. Further proof, let's see if Matt Walsh has this same energy if the person in that video was, let's say, a black person, or maybe a Hispanic person, or maybe even a white person, it doesn't matter, saying a racial slur against a Jewish kid. Let's see if Matt Walsh comes on his program, on his YouTube channel, on his Twitter, with his millions of followers, and doubles down and says that, yeah, Jews should be called racial slurs in the name of freedom of speech. And I stand on it. And I think the person that did it should raise $1 million to be able to protect themselves. He wouldn't do that, partially because his boss is Jewish and he know that they have double standards when it comes to Israel, but also because it's not about free speech for Matt Walsh. Where's your video, Matt Walsh, when it comes to all these people that have been protesting in favor of Palestine or in support of Palestine against Israel and was arrested for it? Where's your support for them and their free speech? Where's your video, bro? I don't see it. It's because, once again, this is not about free speech. We're speaking of, here's my position on the N-word. I'm 30 years old. I have not said the N-word in almost 10 years. I have not said the N-word since like 2016. 21, 22 years old, I stopped using the N-word. I stopped using the N-word because I wanted to treat it like profanity. I have never cursed in my life. I've never said profanity in my life. And I made the official stance that I wanted to be consistent. Because if I'm uncomfortable and if I'm telling other people that I don't like it when they say the word, and I don't like it when we say the word as so-called Black Americans to one another, but we try to make it endearing, then I have to be consistent. And if you don't believe me, I made a video about this like 4 years ago on this channel that as to why I stopped using the N-word. Do I believe that white people should have the right to say it? Absolutely, because they do currently have the right to say it. White people do not have the right to say the N-word. They can say it as freely as they want. What he's talking about is the societal expectations and the societal pressures that prevents or prohibits or shames white people for saying the N-word. That's not the same thing as not having the freedom or having the freedom of speech. Now, I do have white friends. They don't say the word around me. I don't know if they casually use the word or not, but I think they notice that I don't say it, and I think they have enough respect for me to not even chance saying that word around me, and I have enough respect for them and myself to not use the word. But do they have the right to say whatever they want? Yes. Do other people have the right to respond however they choose to respond based on the person saying the word? Absolutely. We can never control that. Will there be legal consequences, and is there currently legal consequences for a person who chooses to attack a white person for saying the N-word? Yes, there is. So once again, what is Matt Walsh talking about here? Which leads me to my ultimate point. My ultimate point is, when I first delved into politics, I quickly realized that I wasn't a progressive, or so to speak, I wasn't a Democrat, because I'm like, a lot of things that they support as a Christian, I don't side with it. Right? I think a lot of things that they support, in fact, I know a lot of things that they support are, quite frankly, anti-God. That's just what it is. But when I started to look at the conservative side, part of figuring out if you fit in with the group is to look at not only what they stand for, but the behaviors of the people that's on that side. And one of the biggest questions I had, because you hear it a lot from people on the left, from Democrats, from libertarians, so to speak, they'll say a lot of those conservatives are racist. They're racist. They say they believe in God. So I was like, I like to judge a person for myself. So I pay close attention to their behavior. And a lot of them I say, I don't know if they're racist, and I don't even know if I care. Do I agree with the things that they stand for? So far, yes, I agree with all of it. Now, what's their premise? Where are they coming from with these decisions? I don't know. But the end result, I agree with the end result. I believe in God. I believe in family. I believe in tradition. We share a lot of those same qualities. But then there are other moments in other people I look at and I say, I wonder if you just hide behind the guise of conservatism, but you really are in fact racist. Not using the term to like the people on the left overuse the term. No, I real deal question if some of these people are legit racist and they just don't have the balls to come out and just say that they're racist. There's a YouTuber named Mark Dice. I think he's a flat out racist, and I think he's proud of it, and I think he's grown cocky on his channel, knowing that he'll get the support from his mostly white constituent regardless, right? His constituency is going to support him whether he comes flat out and say it or not. But there's a lot of other people on the right, I think, that are too coward to say it. Matt Walsh, I believe, is one of those people. Now, people on the left are going to say, well, duh, to what I'm about to say, they're going to say, you're just not realizing that. Well, yeah, because I don't just call people racist and sexist and all the other isms to just wag my finger and try to silence them. No, I like to actually learn a person by the content of their character. I believe Matt Walsh is racist. I believe that he's racist. Because whenever something flat out happens to a so-called black person that is flat out racism, there's no way to debate it. Even in those moments, he finds a way to justify the behavior, or to at least not fully take the side of the so-called black person. What a surprise. What a freaking surprise, bro. I said it before. I believe it's clown behavior. I don't think a lot of these people are Christian. I think that they say that they're Christian, but if you look at their behaviors, their inconsistencies, the way that the language that they use, calling people names, morons, and all this other stuff on his channel, it's not the behavior of a person that really, really tries to follow in the path of Jesus Christ. It's not. It's not. Because a lot of these positions these folks take, they dumb it down to race and superficial characteristics, just like the left does. They're no better. It's just they're on the right or they're conservative. Y'all in the comment section, give me your thoughts. This would be very interesting. I will say, though, the last thing I want to say is this all feels staged to me. I'll be honest. The fact that the Carmelo Anthony situation happened and all of a sudden this lady is at the park and she calls the kid the N-word, but then we really never ever see the kid on camera except for a glimpse of it, of a kid like on the top of the slide, and that kid looks pretty big to be 5. And then we haven't heard from the parents of this kid. It just all seems orchestrated, like somebody put this together to once again divide and conquer. And it looks like it's working because you have people like Matt Walsh and many others who bite the bait and just keep this whole race war, race narrative, race baiting thing going. Y'all up in the comment section, give me your thoughts, man. Until next time, peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.